like Morgan Freeman reading a chemistry textbook. Part 2 of our series, Breaking the Internet. Meet the people who hold the keys to the kingdom. The Hustle, Tuesday, October 25th, 2016. Breaking the Internet, Part 2, The Gatekeepers. Yesterday we covered how hackers broke the internet when they disabled Dyn, a DNS company that helps manage the internet's phone book. Today we're going to dive into the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, ICANN, the poorly named, optimistic organization whose sole purpose is to keep the internet safe. Who dat? ICANN was founded as a non-profit in 1998 with the goal of coordinating the maintenance of several databases integral in keeping DNS records safe and secure. So even though the internet is a piece of technology that can't be owned by any one entity, ICANN is as close as you can get, especially after the US relinquished its long-standing control of DNS to them earlier this month. But here's where it gets crazy. ICANN created what's known as a root key that creates certificates to determine whether or not websites are legit. These crypto keys are called DNS security extensions, DNSSEC, and if hackers try to mess with DNS records, these keys raise a flag and show you an error page instead of, say, a fake bank website asking you for login info. If someone got their hands on this root key, they'd be able to send massive amounts of traffic to wherever they want, which is no bueno. So, to prevent this from happening, they came up with a Dan Brown-esque way of distributing control of the key to ensure extra security. 7 people were selected as key holders, or crypto officers, and given a physical key, with 7 more people as designated backups. These physical keys unlock safe deposit boxes that contain smart key cards, and at quarterly key ceremonies, at least 3 of them are required to access the Internet's master key. As you can imagine, the security at these events is pretty tight. Participants have to pass through a series of locked doors using key codes and hand scanners. Plus, the event itself is heavily scripted and mapped out in advance so everyone in attendance knows if something is wrong. But don't picture robes, candles, and weird chanting. It looks like an episode of The Office than anything else. This Thursday, they're changing things up. On October 27th, ICANN will hold a root signing ceremony where they will change the root key and increase the key switch's size from 1024 bits to 2048 bits for the first time ever. While there's no reason to believe the current key's been compromised, they want to be proactive and practice good cryptography hygiene by essentially changing their password and making it more complex. Interested in tuning in? Anyone can watch the ceremony via live stream, or you can just read the transcript. Fair warning, beyond the secret keys and security measures, the process is about as thrilling as listening to Morgan Freeman read a high school chemistry textbook with C-SPAN playing in the background. Twitter, Facebook, angels, demons, and C++. Getting what you want. Advertisers, salespeople, and politicians are all highly skilled at persuasion, thanks in large part to knowing which psychological strings to strum. But here's the problem. By focusing solely on the message itself, they skip over a key component called persuasion, or the practice of arranging for people to agree with a message before they know what's in it. How persuasion works. According to renowned behavioral scientist Robert B. Cialdini, if you can focus people's preliminary attention on a specific concept, you can get them to overvalue whatever immediately follows. And in most cases, it's as simple as acknowledging the elephant in the room or simply establishing honesty with your audience. For example, when the weirdly shaped Volkswagen Beetle hit the U.S. market in the late 1950s, advertising firm Doyle Dane Bernbach launched a "We're Ugly But" campaign that's regarded as one of the greatest ever. Why was it so effective? Because the ads admitted to the vehicle's cosmetic limitations right off the bat before rattling off strengths like reliability and economy, i.e., it's ugly, but it gets you there. As Cialdini puts it, for maximum impact, it's not only what you do, it's also what you do just before you do what you do. Another way of thinking about this. We recently wrote an article titled, Content Ain't King Unless It's Funny, in which we discussed the power of humor and transparency in ads, particularly in 2016 when people's bullshit detectors are as strong as effort. Bottom line, people aren't stupid. We're being sold to all day, every day, to the point where we know exactly what's going on. So instead of trying to avoid the assumptions your customers might be making, you're better off acknowledging them up front. By doing so, your pitch feels much more human, and even if someone has no interest in buying what you're selling, they'll gain a newfound respect for your brand. Twitter, Facebook. It's ugly, but you should share. A match made in heaven. Yesterday, micro-investing app Acorns announced that Airbnb is joining its Found Money rewards program, which already includes companies like Hotel Tonight, Blue Apron, and 1-800-Flowers. For those unfamiliar with Acorns, the app links to your credit debit cards and automatically invests your spare change. For example, if you spend $7.67 on breakfast, it will invest the remaining 33 cents without you having to do a thing. Think of it like Wealthfront or Betterment, but less of a commitment since it's constantly investing tiny amounts of money into your account. How does this Found Money program work? It's pretty much the same thing as a credit card rewards program, but instead of cash back, the money goes directly into Acorns. For Airbnb users specifically, the partnership works in two ways. Airbnb hosts get $50 invested into their Acorns account when they host their first booking. Airbnb guests get 15% of the guest service fee put into their Acorns account. Why this is a win-win. Airbnb, like all other partnering brands, is footing 100% of the bill for these rewards, so Acorns has literally nothing to lose, and they'll likely get a bunch of new signups out of this. As for Airbnb, all previous Found Money partners have seen a 50% rise in transactions for Acorns customers, meaning they'll get plenty of recurring business as a result of a relatively small investment. Twitter, Facebook, 50%? That's nuts! Como se dice Uber? Like the last hour of labor, Uber's making a big push to double their presence in Latin America by 2018. Already, Brazil is their third biggest market after the US and India, and considering their recent withdrawal from China, Latin America could be their next big frontier. But this is going a little too far. A few months ago in Mexico City, Uber used drones to carry signs above a traffic jam, heckling the drivers about driving by themselves or pollution, and saying they should use Uberpool instead. It's unconventional to say the least, and, unfortunately for humanity, it could become more and more popular, not just in Mexico, but around the world. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration states that it's legal as long as the ad is securely attached to the drone and it's flown over people inside a stationary vehicle that can provide reasonable protection. Twitter, Facebook. Ay caramba! A few good reads. I won $104 million for blowing the whistle on my company, but somehow I was the only one who went to jail. Mel Magazine. The first entry in Mel Magazine's Unusual Millionaires series tells the story of Bradley Birkenfeld, who blew the whistle on UBS for helping Americans avoid paying taxes. He spent 2.5 years in prison, but was later awarded $104 million by the IRS for exposing the scheme. The Periodic Table of Drones. Quadcopter Arena. Random AF website, we know, but this comprehensive list of drones, structured into 7 different price ranges, is well worth a visit for anyone even remotely interested in buying one. Literally every single drone on the market and a solid write-up on each one. Living in China's expanding deserts. The New York Times. Nearly 20% of China is desert, and thanks to climate change, drought across the northern region is getting worse. As the Tengger Desert expands, it's forming a vast sea of sand that could become uninhabitable. How game makers are struggling to make VR fun. Rolling Stone. Every art form goes through an initial awkward phase of trial and error, and it's happening right now for virtual reality game developers. One struggle in particular: how do you get the player to look where you want them to look? The Hustle. Subscribe, advertise, jobs. Kendall Droned Out Baker, writer. John Havel, editor. Sven Diagram, Swedish set theorist. You opted in by signing up, entering a giveaway, or through divine intervention. 1381 9th Avenue, San Francisco, California, 94122 in the United States. 415-506-7210. Never want to hear from us again? Break our hearts and unsubscribe.